Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Red for Anfield Index. It is Sunday, the 4th of May, and in just a few hours' time, Liverpool will kick off as the champions away at Stamford Bridge. They will receive a guard of honour. What will happen from there? Time will tell on that one. I'm your normal host, Dave Davis, coming to you from... It looks like it could get a bit warmer. The sun is peeking through in Edinburgh. Hopefully, wherever you are in the world, it is going well. And you're excited ahead of this game. And why wouldn't you be, to be honest? Because there's an element of relaxation now, isn't there? Somewhat. Not completely, but somewhat. We are already champions. And maybe, hoping not, the best bit of this game might just be the guard of honour that Chelsea will do. Mark Cucurella talked about it, didn't he? He said he would give us the guard of honour. It's right to do it. People giving mixed views. Did you see Rio Ferdinand with his whole Crouchy? Does like, why are you getting into that Crouchy with him? But that is a different topic. Either way, 4:30, this game will kick off. And there's a million things to consider about this game, isn't there, really? I'm just a bit... I don't know. Unsure what to expect. What I mean by that is, how rotten are Liverpool still? How bad did those lads get after Sunday? Are they still hungover, for want of a better phrase? You know, are they going to be switched on? Are they going to be as hungry? All those things that people are going to ask. We will find out soon enough. Do you know what else we'll find out as well with this game, people? The lineup. Not predicting any type of lineup in this with confidence. I think naturally standards won't slip for certain people. Mo will be there. Virgil will be there. I don't even know if Alisson will be there. It wouldn't surprise me if Kelleher started. Say the centre backs. It wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't Ibu. There's just positions all over the pitch. You're just thinking, will it, won't it? We don't really know how this is going to pan out. Will be interesting to see. Maybe, just maybe, the chat's already lively with it. But people want to see Chiesa, won't they? That'll be a popular one. People want to see Endo get minutes, whacking the gum shield at Stamford Bridge and kick that out of Caicedo and Lavia, just to remind them who's the boss DM Liverpool did sign. So all that comes into the mix. There's just nothing you can say about today with confidence, apart from we will get that guard of honour, which is a beautiful thing. And if you look at the way it's structured now, this table, this is big for Chelsea, isn't it? All the pressure is on them and Maresca. And they've not been free-flowing. They've not been brilliant, but all the pressure is on them. I'm intrigued to see whether we're relaxed, whether we're just there, it's free-flowing a little bit and we try things. Or, do you remember that City game after we won the title in 1920 where they were all still battered and I think we got beat 4-0, I think it was, miles off it. It could be one of them at the same time. There's just no way of knowing. The other reason I would like us to beat is just to see Chelsea outside of the Champions League. That would be funny. So there's that part of my brain would just be funny. At the same time, and give me a bit of rope on this, if it doesn't go our way, I do wonder about Newcastle and Villa not getting in the Champions League spots. I don't think that'll happen, to be honest. But yeah, what would that mean for Isak? And you know where I'm going with that, of course you do. But today, 4:30, Arne Slot's champions will line up in this one. We will see what unfolds from there. And just another little thing. That team in second place, Arsenal fans, do you remember that? They were only concerned with Manchester City. To be fair, they're not lying, actually, because they're not really concerned with us if you look at it, but they are only 3 points ahead of them. So actually, Maybe we've just misunderstood Arsenal fans all this time, and we should give them a little bit of rope on that, to be honest. But that chase for the top 5, it is well and truly alive. And even before us, Brighton versus Newcastle comes as well. So there's some interesting games today, but it's all about us. And the reason I'm mentioning these boys, do you remember, you look at that run of 5, 1 win in the last 5 from Leg Ahead's team. Look at this. Has anyone seen the table? The last 10 games. Just cast your eyes on this. In the last 10 games, Liverpool are top of the form table with 25 points, having scored 22 and conceded 9. Remember that team that was having the blip, the wobble, that would be caught, that would feel the pressure. Funny that, isn't it? Some interesting names jumping up that as well. But lo and behold, in 10th place, having only got 14 points, and with Saka back for a period, yeah, just things to ponder as we wait for this game, eh? But we're here to talk about the headlines, here to talk about what are the big stories dominating what's coming out. And naturally, a million things around the match. But probably the one that caught most people's eye yesterday, I think, was the Lewis Steele one, wasn't it? That article around, who Liverpool do and don't currently want, it seems, or who they're looking at, not looking at anymore. So a moment of silence for that bit yesterday that came out. Probably Liam Delap won't concern a few people being scratched off the shortlist. Neither was João Pedro either. But as the photo there, Lewis Steele mentioned in that, at this moment, Morgan Rodgers not on Liverpool's shortlist. I'm hoping that's true in the sense of not now. I'm hoping it's false in the sense of it comes into it eventually, because I do think Morgan Rodgers is some player. And if Aston Villa don't get in the Champions League, which I'm hoping it could be part of it, that may well change. I'm trying to manifest this one hard. Don't know if anyone saw the game, but he was brilliant yesterday, wasn't he? So, yeah, it seems there's a few taken off. And it's funny, James has put there, Xavi Simons, strong word. Yeah, Šeško, not sure on that one. That's the 2 players that he mentioned. So Lewis Steele mentioned in the article that Liverpool had scouts at the Red Bull game, didn't they? And if anyone watched it, brilliant game yesterday. Red Bull Leipzig 3, Bayern Munich 3, a proper end-to-end exciting encounter where the 2 players mentioned, Xavi Simons, Benjamin Šeško, both shone for their team. Now, bit mixed on this, I have to be honest, as I'm saying it now. That if anyone's not seen it, I'll just play it on the screen. Šeško a lot. And I understand why there is a massive split on this kid. Some people like one, some people like the other, some people don't want either, as is clear. But Šeško, if you look so far this season, there is a lot to like in terms of pure stats or raw ability. And that's the term I would use for Šeško, raw. 21 goals in all competitions, 6 assists. Only 21 years old, it's important to say. Speed in Bundesliga this season, 35.45 kmh. Rapid. Make no mistake, Šeško is nearly 2 meters tall as well. Great in the air and rapid. Those are the raw attributes this kid has. He's also capable of, as you saw yesterday, a bit of brilliance. You saw it that way. You can't really debate what you saw yesterday in terms of that brilliance. But we've run him before on transfer market metrics. And the other thing to put in the positive column, it's fair to say, the metrics are nudging up. They're going the right way. He is developing as a player. How fast, that's a different thing to ask altogether. But when you look at it here, even the defensive element, strong in the air, successful take-ons in the 88th percentile of forwards that way. Progressive carries in the 76th percentile. He's big, he's powerfully quick, he carries the ball. Yeah, non-penalty goals, the 72nd percentile. There are certain things, it's clear, why Liverpool are watching Benjamin Šeško. Here comes the kicker for most. Is Benjamin Šeško Darwin Núñez Mark II? Because Núñez was shining in another league. Núñez was big. Núñez was quick. We don't know too much about Šeško's personality, but we know he stayed with Red Bull, has the gentleman's agreement in his contract that he can leave for a certain amount and wanted to develop. I just don't know about him. I really, really don't. I don't see with certainty if he's the 9 that Liverpool buy. Am I like, yes, that sets us proper up for next season in the Premier League, like an Isak or an Alvarez would? And I'm not getting into those two because we're talking about Šeško here in the story from yesterday into today. But yeah, it's just such a big question mark for me. Raw. And maybe because we've got Núñez PTSD, a bit like the way at the start of this title race, we had City PTSD and saying we're going to have to go 90. Maybe there's that. Maybe we're a bit scarred by what's happened previously. But it was also interesting that, let's just be clear, Red Bull took him off, actually, as they started to lose a bit of control, didn't they? So that comes into the mix. And the one big criticism you'd have right now with Šeško, great in the air, but from the hard-working forward that you'd want, interceptions 47th percentile, blocks 52nd percentile. There's a lot of work to do there. And if you see FB Ref, where you've got Šeško in blue, Jota in red, yeah, there's things he would have to work on, okay? And as few people I see are commenting in the chat panel as well, there is an element, I think you would say, there's potential, there's no doubt around that, but it does feel under that category again of, like Núñez, project forward, okay? And yeah, people commenting with Slots coaching, he could be good. Absolutely possible. Is he what we'd be wanting? It is a gamble. It is a gamble with Šeško, and I don't know. But we mentioned him previously on the transfer show many moons ago. He's coming up with Lewis Steele again. It's quite clear that Benjamin Šeško, for obvious reasons, like it or not, and I'm not sort of in the big like it column, is in the mix right now. So we'll see what develops with that. Another player that's definitely in the mix is Xavi Simons. And if anyone watched this game yesterday, he slips in the pass, doesn't he, to Šeško for the opener, and also gets the second assist when Poulsen levels it right at the death. Now, I can't be hypocritical. I've said before, I am not the biggest fan of Xavi Simons. I don't think we're not 12, so I don't say he's bad or he's good. I'm not sure he's what we need or what I would want to be coming in. And I also have the feeling if Xavi Simons is coming in, by the looks of our setup, he is an attacking midfielder, but he also played left. Did you see that for Red Bull? And he's played left quite a bit. It would probably cast a few question marks over the future of Luis Diaz there as well, wouldn't it? But if you take yesterday, 2 assists, I actually thought, credit where it's due, he looked quite cultured on the ball at times. Very much how I would describe him as a slot player. And we mentioned it on the transfer show, when he said Liverpool been watching this, there's big Dutch connections there. The connection with Gakpo at PSV, international teammates on a slot. There's zero doubt that Xavi Simons is a player Liverpool are having a hard look at. And his metrics, on the top line, 10 goals and 8 assists, 2 were carried yesterday, so 18 goal contributions. It's always worth remembering when we analyse Bundesliga players, as an analysis, a comparison against the Premier League, it breaks down at 0.86. So you'd have to be knocking off 14% of the metrics for any Bundesliga players. But it's a league Liverpool having a serious look at, isn't it? We know Šeško, Simons, Ekitike was mentioned as well by Lewis. It's clearly a league that Liverpool are having a serious look at. When you look at the headline metrics or delve a bit deeper for Xavi Simons, if you are looking at him as that, say, attacking midfielder who can also play wide, there is a lot to like, isn't there? He's a good passer, maybe great's too strong, but 88th percentile, progressive passes as well, 86th percentile. You saw it yesterday, does move the ball forward there, and shot creating actions, 81st percentile, over 4.5 a game. There are certain things to like, even aerials, 78th percentile, clearances, 74th, interceptions, 69th as well. And if you can see the FB ref overlay there with Dominic Szoboszlai, there are certain similarities, aren't there? They do it's different players, I get, but there are elements or similarities there. No two ways about it. No one knows how this summer's obviously going to pan out, but it is crazy to think that the 1st of June, that transfer window opens, we're less than a month away from it opening. It's just hard to know for definite, but it's quite clear Xavi Simons and Benjamin Šeško are prominent in Liverpool's thoughts right now. They are having a big look at these two players. As Lewis Steele mentioned, the scouts were there yesterday and they saw Šeško score. They saw Xavi Simons get 2 assists. If anything, they probably furthered their cause if it is possible. It's probably not what everyone would want. I'm not going to be hypocritical, as I said, and pretend that I would want both, but we will see what develops with those two. Other stories as well. An Italian double has been mentioned. Now, a couple of players we've talked about before. So if I think about one I get the right one there, Nicola Rovella, set to complete that permanent move to Lazio from Juventus, been on loan. One of those weird Italian 2-year loans. But we talked about this before when we ran him on TMM because we were aware Liverpool have watched this. And all the info we mentioned before is that Richard Hughes is a fan of the Italian league, that there's value there. Wages are low at the same time. Does see it as almost an untapped area. With Rovella, you look at it and you think, okay, passes attempted, 91st percentile pass completion, 89.4. And maybe it's interesting to point out that very much compared by a lot to Martin Zubamendi as well. So that comes into the mix. And tackles, 85th percentile, interceptions, 92nd percentile. There is a lot to like there. The only thing is, as we also mentioned on transfer market metrics, not the most mobile by any means. So you start playing him with Mac. Yeah. Would it be a Gravenberch cover? It depends how you see it a little bit, isn't it? But if we overlay them, has certain things that Grav doesn't, probably a far better passer, but it's the physical and the ability to move. Which, the other thing which sounds harsh is Italian players into the Premier League. These are not the days of Ravanelli, Vialli, and those exciting things, are they now? They struggle. Look at Chiesa a little bit. Yeah, whether it's the culture, the weather, the climate, the style, Italians don't tend to transition well to the Premier League. That's just a fact. There's so much evidence, out there that shows that. So that is a concern there. But we've mentioned Rovella before. Yeah, be interesting to see if anything breaks with that. Maybe a little bit more interesting, and I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. Seen him in the Champions League. Argentinian. Ratugis, I think it pronounced. So probably going to correct me here in the chat panel. But someone who's having a great season for Atalanta. And there's always someone who shines under Gasparini's style, isn't there? Liverpool, as a few of you have put, are looking for a bagsman. 26 years old, 27 goals in all competitions, and those across Serie A and the Champions League as well. Okay, so maybe one name that's new to the mix, but people are mentioning like him before. And you could understand certain things when you look at his profile. And I've watched him a few times, naturally, in the Champions League, but the defensive element, that would probably be your biggest concern. I mean, his highest there is aerial at 58. Interceptions, which we look for from our front man, 29th percentile. Yeah, there's a few question marks there, isn't there? Touches the ball a lot in the attacking penalty areas, it says. 86th percentile for touches, over 6 a game. Just shy of 7 progressive passes received, 85th percentile. So there's a lot to like there. It's in the top area, the attacking metrics where you like it, though, isn't it? Non-penalty goals, 94th percentile, over 3.5 shots a game, which is the magic number that Barca has talked about, 89th percentile. This guy is a finisher. There's no two ways about it. An absolute finisher. It will be interesting to see because a lot of the names like this, when you say Rovea and Ratugi, if I'm pronouncing that right, are coming from the Italian side, aren't they? It's important to say. Doesn't mean it's wrong by any means, but it doesn't mean that there's genuine traction. We've not heard a Lewis Steele, Paul Joyce, David Ornstein. You know all the names. A UK journalist get behind these two names at all. It is both from the Italian side. So that comes into the mix as well. And when we talk about other names, it's funny how, I don't have recency bias. This isn't knocking them at all, but Lee saying there, Huijsen looks the business. Huijsen's popular after yesterday. Not just yesterday, don't get me wrong, but a great header for the goal, for the equaliser, wasn't it, for Bournemouth. I thought Kirkes had a good game as well. Watch that. The reason we mentioned those is Huijsen said, or let me be clear, Huijsen from Lewis Steele in the article said, and I'm reading it here, that, you know, there's no front runner, it's still to make up the mind. But Lewis did mention about Milos Kirkes and being clear that that deal is in advance, but Liverpool are being respectful to Bournemouth because of where they are in the league and what they're trying to do. So well worth a full read, the article. But yeah, the way he phrased it does feel like there's a sense of Thanos-style inevitability for Kirkes joining Liverpool, which, interestingly, when we ran it on transfer market metrics, if Kirkes then comes in, that's your road runner, isn't it? That's your pace down the left-hand side, which if Xavi Simons did come in and was to play there, he does invert almost, doesn't he? Come inside, play those passes. So it could work in that sense with Kirkes bombing on down the outside, Simons coming in possibly. If, you know, he can also play attacking midfielder, as we said that. But yeah, there was a lot in that Lewis Steele update to unpack. No two ways about it. I'm just sad. And I'm hoping it's just for now, Liverpool aren't looking at Morgan Rodgers because he's the one for me. And we're hoping, if Villa don't qualify for the Champions League, Liverpool do revisit that. Other bits to tell you about as well. I mean, AI content, you know, you've got all the articles to read. But coming up today, you've got the watch along with young Jack ahead of this one. Nice build up there, isn't it? Your earlier kickoffs into that one. And afterwards, you've got the Gags Tandem show as well on YouTube. Also, the boys' show will be out. So, you know, Raw with Trev, Dave, and whoever doing that. Plenty of content to walk you all through the day. And even as we said before, just in the last 24 hours, plenty of material around transfer targets and this game as well. Okay. Lots of people throwing the comments in the chat panel, which is appreciated, about thoughts around targets. We're just going to have to see a little bit what develops, but things will be developing quicker than normal, people. That transfer window opens on the 1st of June. As Arne Slot has talked about today, and you'll see these comments on the website, a little bit of uncertainty around the Club World Cup. Is it a good thing or a bad thing for Chelsea and City going? also talks about the transfer window and how the celebrations and everything in that makes it absolutely, forefront of players' minds about joining Liverpool. We have to face into that at the same time. There's so much to unpack. But before we get there, ladies and gents, there is just the small matter of a guard of honour at Stamford Bridge in about 5 hours' time. Just the small matter of the champions walking out there. And who knows what champions it could be. There's a little part of me that even thinks, wouldn't it be hilarious if Endo was up top and Nunes was at right back? It's not going to happen, I know. But will Chiesa get a start? Harvey Elliott, will he be in there? Costa, there's so many things to think about. There's a few uncertainties. But what is certain, the champions will get their guard of honour at 4:30. And there we go, ladies and gents. On Sunday, the 4th of May, that was another Daily Red for Anfield Index.